Hey, you're listening to the C3 Network Podcast with Dan Holland. Our mission is to create a network of microchurches that are finding, teaching, and equipping people to be on mission. Our hope is that this encourages you. Be sure to leave us a review so you can help us share our message with more people who need to hear it. And now, Dan Holland.
Most people want mountain-moving faith, but very few people are willing to live mustard seed lives. Let me explain. We want instant answers, immediate breakthroughs, visible results, and clear direction, but Jesus said the kingdom of God rarely begins that way. Instead, it begins small, hidden, quiet, in roots beneath the surface before anyone sees the fruit. Welcome to episode 5 of Rooted. I'm Dan Holland, and we've been building a pathway together because transformation is not random. Our thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to habits. Habits lead to character, and character leads to destiny. The life you are living today is growing from something beneath the surface. We've already talked about being planted, understanding identity, renewing the mind, and confronting lies. But eventually, everybody reaches a moment where information alone is no longer enough. You can know the truth intellectually and still refuse to trust God in practice. And that is where faith enters the story. Faith isn't pretending. Faith isn't positive thinking. Faith isn't denial. See, faith is choosing to trust God before you can see the outcome. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 6, it says, "Without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists and that he rewards those who earnestly seek him." Without faith, it isn't more difficult to please God. It's impossible. Why? Because faith keeps us connected to him. Faith keeps us dependent. Faith keeps us growing. Faith reminds us that transformation is not behavior management. It is life from the roots up. Jesus once said that faith, like a mustard seed, could move mountains. He compared the kingdom of God to something that's wild, invasive, alive, and impossible to contain. That's such a weird picture, though, because mustard seeds were so tiny, they were overlooked and almost insignificant. Yet Jesus intentionally chose that image because the kingdom of God often starts small, hidden, and underestimated. That matters because many people misunderstand faith. See, we think faith means giant emotions, giant confidence, or giant certainty. But Jesus said the issue is not the size of your faith, but the object of your faith. See, a tiny seed planted in the right soil can become something massive over time. Mustard seeds, for example, mustard plants, could grow 10 to 12 feet tall. In some places, they spread so aggressively that they were considered dangerous to nearby gardens because they would take over literally everything around them. His point is that small beginnings matter. See, what's happening in your heart and mind will grow. Small decisions repeated over time create a compounded growth, not sometimes, every time. See, one of the great mistakes we make is wanting visible fruit without the hidden roots. We want to have mature character without the rooted process. Everybody wants to see the view, but few want to make the climb. But healthy things grow slowly. Trees don't explode upward overnight. Roots deepen, you see, before branches are able to grow wider. God is usually doing his deepest work where nobody can see it. Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 7, it says, "But blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in him, because they will be like a tree planted by the water, that sends out its roots by the streams. It does not fear when the heat comes. Its leaves are always green. It has no worries in a year of drought and never fails to bear fruit." And notice the connection between trust and roots. Faith isn't merely believing that God exists. Faith is staying connected to Him as your source. People who are trusting in the Lord survive drought because their roots reach deeper than the conditions that are around them. Storms are going to come. Heat is going to come. Pressure is going to come. But rooted people endure because their source is stronger than their circumstances. One of the strongest lessons I've learned over the years is this: environment matters more than most people realize. Relationships matters, inputs matter. What you repeatedly expose yourself to eventually shapes you. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 15:33, he said, "Bad company corrupts good character." Now that is root language. And the reverse is also true. Healthy people tend to grow around healthy influences. Faith grows around faith. Wisdom grows around wisdom. Courage grows around courage. Nobody accidentally drifts into a strong life. Strong lives are cultivated, and who we are becoming is often connected to who and what we stay connected to. Years ago, I heard a story about a man who drove a Mercedes over 2.4 million miles. I want you to think about that for a moment. 2.4 million miles. People asked how a car could possibly last that long. The answer? Well, it wasn't complicated. Consistent maintenance, oil changes, inspections, repairs. It was attention beneath the hood. You know, nobody applauds maintenance because maintenance is hidden work. And frankly, it's usually boring, but hidden work determines long-term sustainability. Faith works the same way, guys. Most people only notice public breakdowns, but the breakdown usually started long before the collapse became visible. Weak roots eventually produce weak lives. Faith is built quietly through daily trust, daily obedience, daily surrender, daily seeking, and daily dependence on God. Sometimes growth even requires disruption. See, if you leave a plant in the same pot forever, eventually the roots become tangled, cramped, and unable to grow. The plant becomes what's called root bound. In order for the plant to continue growing, somebody has to loosen the roots, disturb the soil, and move it to a larger space. The process feels violent to the plant, I'm sure of it. But the discomfort isn't destruction. It's preparation for growth. Now, some of you are in a repotting season right now. Your routines changed. Your relationships changed. Maybe your finances changed. Your predictability changed. And maybe you're asking, why is God disrupting my life? But sometimes God allows discomfort because your current container cannot sustain the future that He is preparing for you. So let me ask you, do you believe that God exists? And do you believe that He will reward you if you earnestly seek Him? What are you rooted in right now? Is it comfort, approval, money, control, fear? I only ask because roots are always pulling something in. Whatever you trust most will eventually shape. Correction is shaping your choices, habits, relationships, and destiny. And maybe your next step is not dramatic. Maybe it's mustard seed small, a prayer, a conversation, a surrender, a decision to trust God one more day. Don't despise small beginnings. Healthy roots are formed one decision at a time. Transformation happens that way, quietly, deeply, consistently, root by root, day by day, and eventually, what's been growing beneath the surface begins to rise to the surface where everyone can see it. I'll see you next time for more on Rooted, how faith grows and life changes.
Thanks for tuning in. If you like this podcast, we post a new episode each week, so be sure to subscribe and leave us a review so you can help share our message. We'll see you next time.